I was having a discussion with one of my colleagues at work, and she was telling me how she just recently purchased an NRAS property, and I asked her for the name of the financial advisor who was helping her with that, and she passed along Robert's name. And then I did a little bit of research on the internet, and I looked him up and thought, yep, this is a good thing for us. And we decided to give him a call. That's how it started. Good. A lot of information. There's a lot to take in, but he clearly explained, didn't he?
Yeah, it was very hard to sort of like believe that it was really true, that, you know, it was possible that we didn't even know this scheme existed. Like, there was no publicity of it, there was nothing out there about it. And when Robert first started telling us about it, we sort of like, it can't be true. And it was a lot of information to take in. So he said to us, look, you know, I'll come back again once you've had a bit of time to look up everything on the website. And
let the information sink
in, yeah, before we went on with it.
Yeah. I remember we talked about it and we're thinking, how does this work? How could we afford it? And you know, because there was talk about, you know, we could use the equity in our house to, you know, purchase some of these NRAS properties. And but yeah, so we were trying to do the sums ourselves, but it made clearer sense when Robert explained it to us. So
we went back a lot of phone calls. We started making a few phone calls to Robert and asking him a lot of questions. How do you set up the lines of credit, and how do we get the equity out of the home, and what happens when we take the equity out of the home? You know, does that affect our personal home loan that we've got now? And he said, in the end, he said, look, I said, you're asking all the right questions. I said, I'll come over again. And we sat down for probably about 4 hours one night over a bottle of wine, actually, and discussed it. And it sort of started to come clearer and make a lot of sense. And to this day, there's a lot of people we talk to it about it. And I think your sister is probably one that just can't comprehend how it works.
I'm a manager in the public sector, and I believe I'm in the 37% tax bracket. So, Daryl, you're probably similar, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a manager in a private sector for a manufacturing company, and my tax is probably between 20 to 25,000 a year, probably a little bit more. So it's a fair lot of money to be paying out, and with this scheme, we can actually reduce that tax almost to zero.
Thankfully, it's reduced our tax to zero, and actually we'll be getting a tax refund, so which is really good. So it's ended up, you know, increasing our wealth, which is what we wanted to do, because at our stage of life we were looking at increasing our wealth for our retirement, essentially.
See, with what's happened is because we've reduced our tax almost to zero. What happens now is all that extra money that we've got coming in, we're actually paying off our own home.
So we haven't paid Robert any fees whatsoever, or NRAS for sale any fees, and he advised us of that right from the very beginning. And there was the question, you know, how does he make his money? But he explained all of that to us, but essentially he's being paid by the banks. So for bringing them our business. So essentially the only fees we're paying is bank fees, which we'd pay anyway if we were buying, you know, personal or investment property. So
the big difference is a lot of people with their superannuation, and it's an investment. It's all to do with shares and investing in shares, which, you know, is very volatile at the moment, and banks love bricks and mortar as investment. So he gets his commission from selling the house as well. So he sets up all the deals for us. He finds the houses. He does all the work, does all the paperwork, does all the bank paperwork, all the loans, everything for us, and we haven't paid him anything. And for that, he gets a commission for selling the house.
Yeah, so we've got 3 duplexes at the moment, and we've got 5 NRAS across the 3 duplexes. So by having that number of NRAS, that's what's, you know, reduced our tax down to zero. and it's increasing our wealth by, building the equity in our investment properties as well. The tax benefits that we get on each of our properties is because they are negative geared, and so we also get money from the NRAS for each duplex, because each duplex obviously has 2 units. So we get $10,000, or just over $10,000 per year per unit in each duplex. So at the moment we've got 3 duplexes and 5 NRAS, so that means we would have 5 lots of $10,000 per year for 10 years. So that would be, what, $50,000 a year by 10 years, it's $500,000 that we'll make from the government in NRAS incentives, plus any tax benefits that we get on top of that as well.
I've actually spoken to a few people about it, and because they've been interested in it, and I asked them, have you got equity in your home? How much equity have you got in your home? That's all you need to start. If you've got equity in your property, you can start, and you can. It's such an easy process.
It was actually much easier than we expected.
Yeah.
So
I mean, building a house is always, has its ups and downs and its bumps, as you go along. But as far as the NRAS side of it and buying, and we didn't have to look for the properties. Robert did all the searching and found them in the right places where there was going to be good capital growth over the next 10 to 20 years.
To be honest, I wish we'd called Robert 10 years ago, to be honest, because I think we'd be well on our way now to retiring early, because that's what we'd like to do, and that was one of the reasons that we went into this program, NRAS for Sale, and because we want to retire early, and we'd like to retire, on a healthy income. Unfortunately, the superannuation that we've currently got, as we know, they're pretty volatile. We couldn't rely on our super. It was going to run out. We were going to live longer than our super was going to last. So we thought it's time to do something drastic, and at the time we thought it was drastic, but it's actually worked out much better for us than we anticipated.